Welcome to Straight Talk Sacred Pathway. I'm Stuart Wellborn, a British author and former therapist, and each week I sit down with Wa-Na-Nee-Che, a spiritual elder from Turtle Island, to explore the deeper truths behind healing, ceremony, and connection to Source. Hello, and welcome to this special edition of Straight Talk Sacred Pathway podcast. Wa-Na-Nee-Che is going to be demonstrating how to make a medicine pouch. So if you are one of our regular listeners, or if you come across this as a listener only, you're probably better off watching this one, which will be on YouTube and Spotify. If you're joining us live, if you've got any questions, put them in the chat and I'll put them to Wa-Na-Nee-Che at the end. And that's all I've got to say. I'm going to mute my microphone.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and afternoon for those who are basically over here. Today, I want to basically kind of explain what a medicine bag. But before we get into the medicine bag, you need to realize that the medicine bag is a very important tool that people can utilize. Too many people sit there and go and they buy a medicine bag, when in reality, it's better for you to do it yourself for yourself, because there are certain ingredients that you have to utilize before you even start to make the pouch. One of the things that you need is sage. Now, sage itself, if you can see it in my hand, is a very important energy that protects you, that basically cleanses you. So the first thing you want to do when you use sage is to place it into your hand. Now, it doesn't do any good just to put it in your hand. All basically herbs are alive. Everything that you're going to be utilizing to put in the medicine bag is alive. So you take it and you start to utilize and make it into a ball. But while you're doing that, you got to talk to it. You got to ask it what you do. You want to utilize it for protection, for cleansing, for healing. This is the energy that you're putting into it, and that it'll eventually go into the medicine bag. Now what's in the ball, you're ready to basically put it aside until your medicine bag is done. The other ingredient that you utilize is osha. Osha, again, is a healer. And it basically heals many things. But it also can be utilized as a gift to the energies that are going to basically be helping you. So all you have to do is break off a small piece of the osha that you're going to place into the lodge. It doesn't have to be very big. All it has to do is be small so that it'll go into. So if you can see that, it doesn't have to be that big. So that again, when you utilize it, you say, this is the offering of the life force energies that's going to go into the medicine bag to protect you. So you have to talk to it again and tell it why you're giving it and why you're putting it into the medicine bag. Now, the other thing is, I don't have to really show you, but if you take tobacco and you place a little tobacco into your hand, and again, tobacco is a gift, but it's also a healer. So you're giving the tobacco as a gift to all the energies that will go into the medicine bag to protect you. So once you get that done, you can put it on the side. The other thing that you can utilize is a thing called flat cedar. Flat cedar, again, is a protector. It's also basically a healer that works on lung problems, viruses. So again, you take a little bit, and that's going to go into the medicine bag as well. Now, people say that, again, you can also utilize sweetgrass, a little bit of sweetgrass, but that's up to you. It's not necessary, but if you want to put sweetgrass into the pouch, that'll be up to you. Now, if you have a favorite little crystal, it has to be small, or a small stone that is very special to you, again, place it in your hand and tell it why you're going to put it into the medicine bag and what you want it to do for you. Now, you have all the ingredients that you need to put into the medicine bag. Now, other people can make medicine bags for you, but you don't know what kind of energy they're going to put into it. So it's best that you do it yourself. And it's more effective if you do it yourself because it becomes a personal thing, a personal medicine bag for you. And if you can see the one that I'm wearing, it doesn't have to be fancy. Fancy has nothing to do with the medicine bag. It's the idea of what you have in it and what the medicine bag does for you. Now, I generally get a strip of leather about that big. Now, it's going to be folded like that. Now, the whole idea is
I just want to interrupt you for a second. What size is that? Just remember, some people will be listening.
any size you want to make it. This is a very, like, probably about, oh, I would say maybe 2 inches across and about, I would say 6 inches long.
Right.
But it depends on how big you want to make the medicine bag, how small you want to make the bag will determine the size of your medicine bag. Now, I've already folded one up, and the best thing to do is to utilize insu. The insu is basically going to be the thread that's going to put your medicine bag together. Now, the other thing that you want to do is you want to get a piece of what's called leather, long enough that you know it's going to go around your neck and attach itself to the medicine bag. So what you do is you get the insu. Now they do have leather needles. Now sometimes it's really, really difficult to put a needle into certain type of leather. If you have a soft leather, you have no problems. But in my case, my leather is very, very thick and very hard to get a needle through. Now, when you take the insu, you tie a little knot at the end after you place it through the needle. Once that's done, within the witch call, you put it in and you start to thread the medicine bag. Now, before you get to the end, you go through the next hole. Sometimes it's hard to find the hole.
Giggity.
And then again, you go through it. Now, what I do is when I bring the string in, where you have the end of the insu where you're knotted, I place it between the loop. This will ensure that it doesn't come through. And then what you do is you tighten it, and that's the first part. And then you start going all the way up to the top. And you keep threading it. What I usually do when I thread it is that I'll always also put it through the loop. Just like that. Be careful because these needles are sharp. And if you want a bloody one, you can get a bloody one. Let's put that through. And what it does, as it goes in, it ensures that it is closed. And then again, you go to the next hole. And you continue all the way to the top. And you go all the way that way through the holes, all the way to the top. Now, when you get to the top, you have to take your leather and you place it inside so that when you put the needle through, you'll start the first strap that's going to go around your neck. Now, you do not sew the top. The top remains open. Now, what you do is you go to the other side and repeat, going through the holes all the way to the top. And then you put the other part of your strap where you will secure it again with the needle. Once you have accomplished all this, you sit and you start to put by that little opening that you haven't closed. This is where the osha will go, the sage, the sweetgrass, the cedar, and your tobacco offering. And if you want to put a little stone in there, you can put your little stone in there. You can put your little crystal. But again, everything has to be told why it's going to go into this pouch. Now, once you get the pouch done, take mine off. It would look like this. And you can see where the strap is strapped on. Now, once you get it closed, put it in your hand again. And what you do is you're giving thanks for everything. If you want to do a chant, but make sure your chant is full of joy, happiness, and that all you're going to do is put good energy into that pouch. And you're thanking all the ingredients that you put on there for coming into that pouch. And you ask them again, please watch over me, protect me, and I will thank you for that. And then that is all you need to know about the medicine pouch. But be careful because, like I said, it's better to do yourself because you don't know the type of energy that's going to be utilized by the person who's making it. Now, the other thing that's very important is the fact that don't buy synthetic leather. It's got to be real leather because real leather comes from a living energy. So when you make it, make sure that it is genuine leather. Now, if you have any questions, you can email me. You can ask Stuart. And like I said, once you get it done, put it around your neck. Now, one thing that is very, very, very important because it may happen to you. It happened to me on my first medicine pouch I made. It was blessed by Frank Foolscroll. And he gave me some little articles to put into it. So about 3 years, 4 years after my first medicine bag, I always carried around my neck except the shower. and I had it around my neck. I went to bed. Next morning, I woke up, the medicine bag was gone. And I looked all over the bedroom, under the bed, in the bed, under the sheets, nothing. Could not find it. And it really bothered me. Fortunately, I went to South Dakota on a case with the Justice Department. And I always stopped to see Frank Fusco. So I went and told him what happened. And he looked at me and he just cracked up laughing. And he said, I want you to see something. He sat and he put his hand out. There was nothing in his hand. He squeezed it for about 10 seconds, then he opened it, and there was a little rock in there. I looked at it, and then he said, he closed his hands again, opened it up, and the rock was gone. And I said, what happened? He said, your medicine bag has very sacred objects in it. They went inside of you. You no longer needed the medicine bag because it went inside of you. It disappeared. You no longer needed that energy because that energy is in you now. And later on, if you want to make another medicine bag, you can. So this is very important to know that if all of a sudden it disappears, don't worry about it. That means that it has accepted you totally, and now the energy has gone inside of you. And you don't need that type of special crystals, special stones, or whatever, because they're part of you now. So this is what the special meaning about a medicine bag is. A lot of people will make them without understanding the purpose of a medicine bag. Or when someone does it, if they happen to be a little bit upset, angry, sad, that goes into your medicine bag. That's again why you make your own medicine bag. Make sure that when you do it, you're happy, that you're sending good energy into everything that you do. And the medicine bag will work for you. I hope. So if there's any questions, just get a hold of me or get a hold of Stuart. Okay, Stuart, you can come back on.
Okay, you just said, this is like somebody just asked, because my email address is in the description of all our videos that we put out. You know, in the description it says if you've got any questions, email Stuart. So my email address is there, but you just said if people want to email you, they can. So what is your email address?
D as in dog, A as in apple, R as in Roger, dash 58 at hotmail.com. And then we can go ahead and set up a video talk through Messenger so that I can show you again.
You call that phonetic alphabet, and you served in the military. Delta Alpha Romeo.
Well, usually when I say dart, everybody says, huh? And I said, well, dart it is.
Okay, now one question then. You mentioned the thread that you sew it with was insu. What is
Right.
insu?
Insu is, again, it's a product of an animal.
Okay.
It's actually intestines.
Oh.
So again, it's very, very strong. And that's why I use it, because thread will break.
Yeah.
This will last a hell of a long time.
And
So
is
you
that...
can go to any leather store really and buy it, but it's kind of expensive now. So you got to remember that. What you may want to do is maybe if you want to get together with a bunch of people to put one together, then you can all chip in and get a big roll of insulin. Because I think here in the States, I think it's like $32 for a bowl.
Is it available in like the UK or other countries?
Yeah, it's available in the UK. There's a lot of Native American shops around where you can actually get the insu. And
Yeah,
again,
anybody in the UK, if you want to chip in with me, we'll all get some insu together. 30 odd quid
make
for it.
sure that you get leather needles. Otherwise, if you use a regular needle, it's going to bust, 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 bust. Now, I kind of fudge a little bit, cheat a little bit. Since I have the leather and it's really tough and the needle won't go through it, I take a small, small drill bit and I drill holes through it so that the needle goes through a lot easier.
If you're into modelling, as in Airfix type models, sometimes those kits come with a really small drill bit
Now, it's
for
got to be a
drilling
real
holes.
sturdy needle.
Okay, so you can cheat by drilling holes in it then.
Yeah. And the other thing is, if it's really tough to go, if it goes through, just take a plier and you can get the end and you can pull it. It's a lot easier to do that than try to pull it with your hands. Next thing you know, you got little blood coming out.
That takes me on to my next question. If you were making your pouch and you cut yourself and you get blood on it, does that affect it at all?
What now?
Okay. If you were sewing up the pouch and you pricked yourself and you get blood on the pouch, is that going to affect the medicine
Oh,
pouch?
that's an offering.
Okay, I just thought I'd check that.
Like when I made my sacred shirt, I mean, I was always picking my fingers and everything, so there was blood that goes with it. But when they came back and the vision said, "We enjoyed your sacrifice," I said, "I didn't."
Well, if you've ever served in the Royal Navy, you get something called a rigging set for doing rope work. And one of the things there's a marlin spike for doing big rope work. But you have a little thing that's called a pricker, and that's good for making holes in leather.
Yeah. Well, they actually have instruments that'll actually make small punching holes into leather, which makes it a lot more easier.
And
That's when when I went and got the leather, I sat there and they had one that all you have to do is sew and put together, right? So he handed it to me. I handed my hand, and it flew out of my hand. I said, "Okay." I said, "I can't use this because it's basically artificial made and it's not really leather." So then I said, "What am I going to do?" And I happened to walk by, and they were having a sale. And here's this almost, I would say, maybe 5 feet by 4 feet leather, and it was only like $60. And so I got that, and I can make probably 100 medicine bags if I need to. But it's good to always basically get the bigger sheets a lot cheaper. And that's why I said again, people can get together. There's all kinds of leather shops over there that you can get the leather. But again, sometimes it can be very expensive. You know, what you want to do is make sure that they're having a sale when you get it.
So the leather, just in case somebody, I'm just going to say to anybody who is a listener, you really should watch this particular episode if you're thinking of doing a medicine pouch. Even if you don't want to watch another one, just watch this
Yeah,
one.
okay. If you notice that in England, when you go to a powwow sponsored by a group, they all have leather outfits. So leather is available. You may want to even get a hold of them and see if they have any little small sections of leather extra. And sometimes you can purchase it, or sometimes they'll just give it to you. If you tell them that you're going to make a medicine pouch, they'll probably just give it to you.
I was just going to ask, just in case somebody is only a listener, you said the size of the leather to use, 6 inches by 2 inches. What would you say is the thickness of the leather?
It doesn't matter.
No,
I think it doesn't matter. It's just that what's available, I guess.
as long as it's not something flimsy that's going to rip over
Now,
time.
whatever you do, don't get a pouch that's about that wide and about that big and covers your whole body. Doesn't that, like I said, this is the appropriate size, that basic, the best size.
Okay, this is just a weird idea, but you could go to a charity shop and probably find a leather handbag. Could you use that?
No, because it's been already been put into a situation in which the bag was made to make money.
So you want
Yeah, so
virgin
that
leather?
energy, yeah, so that energy basically is in there, whoever made that bag. And it was machine made, it wasn't handmade. So it's best just basically get just pieces of leather. Like I said, there's so many people that do powwows over there that leather is available all over the place.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's closed down now, but in Derby there was the Market Hall, and they used to have a leather shop. You know, you could get all sorts of stuff.
Just just make sure that when you go there, you don't say, "Wa-Na-Nee-Che said that if I need a piece of leather, that you'll give it to me."
I did notice when you held yours up to the camera, it's got a fancy pattern on it.
No, it's pretty normal.
Yeah, there's a design on it.
Well, that's the leather itself that had the design on it.
Does that matter?
No, it doesn't matter.
You can have plain leather then.
No.
And leather can be, I may be wrong here, but it can be horse leather and cow leather. Does it matter what
Leather,
kind?
leather. Everything has an energy and everything has a good energy, so it doesn't make a difference where it is. You know, deer hide is nice because deer hide represents love.
Deer.
Yeah. But make sure that the leather's not made out of a bull.
Why?
Yes.
No, but
Uh,
seriously, does it matter?
no.
No, no. Just want to cover all the things, because if somebody's making one and it's a sacred type of thing, me and you, we love humour and joking and stuff, but somebody might be going, "Oh, I better not get a bull."
I was going to say, make sure you don't get a smudge stick and take the sage off it. Get real sage. The smudge stick, basically, again, is made out of a sage that has no apparent healing power. It has another power, but it has nothing to do with healing or
Right.
basically protection. So you need to get the sage that's in the bag. They can get a lot of that bag sage from almost anybody. And don't get mountain sage either, the brittle. It
So
has to
what
be a
type of
regular
sage do you want?
just a white sage.
White sage.
Like I said, it's loose leaf because if you take like the sage stick and try to make it into a ball, you look on the floor and there's a puddle. So
Really?
it's got to be, that's why it's got to be the white sage and it's flexible so that you can roll it into the ball.
Have you still got some with you now to show it to the
Yeah.
camera again?
Let's see if I can reach it over here. By the way, when I was saying it, like the OSHA only has to be that big.
Okay, that's about,
It's
for
very,
anyone
very
who's
small.
listening, about an inch, if that, is it?
Not even that. It's
Half an
almost like
inch.
you can almost utilize, as they say, uh, almost a little bit more than a rice kernel. That's what the loose sage looks like right here.
What if you grow sage in your garden?
Not particularly, because again, when you go pick the sage, it's among other medicines. Whereas if you have it in your garden, sometimes, you know, now if you're going to do it, get the real sage seed, just throw it. Don't have to put it in the garden, just throw it in the ground. It'll come up. But it'll come up and it'll next. But when you do the sage, you talk to the seeds and tell it why you're going to use it and why you're planting it. It's just like it's funny because the story that my dad did. We were sitting out there, and I used to have about 2 acres that I used to put into a garden every year when I was young. And my first year, I planted it. I mean, North Dakota, I mean, it's probably have the richest soil in the world for planting things. And we have a saying that if you stand still for almost 15, 20 minutes, your feet start to grow roots. But we're sitting there looking at the garden, and he said, "You have a real first garden I ever made." He said, "My God," he said, "you did a fantastic job. You have a beautiful garden." and look at your corn, 9 feet tall. And I said, yeah, they're beautiful. And he said, but there's only one thing wrong with your corn. I said, what? There's no ears on it. There's no corn. And I went, look, sure enough, no corn whatsoever. It was tall, but no corn. And I said, what did I do wrong? He said, well, when you plant corn, you do a marriage. So when you make a marriage, you put 3 kernels into the ground. So you're making a marriage, but you're also making a blessing, a child. So when a man and woman get together, they create a child, which is the ear of corn.
Ooh.
So from then on, I had all kinds of corn.
Right, just a couple of questions on the medicine patch because we've got 3 minutes left. When you got all the different herbs or whatever, you say what your intention is while it's in your hand. Do you have to do anything with the leather?
No, just basically just tell it what you're being used for. You know, I just thought of something. In England, they do have a substitute that they utilize for ceremonies. Was it called hogwort or something like that?
Hogwort.
It's something that they utilize.
Mugwort.
I can't remember what it is, but a lot of the Celtics use it.
Mugwort, I think you're
The
thinking of.
Druids use it in place of sage.
I can find that out, and I'll bring it up next week in the episode because I listened to an audiobook where they were talking about it.
Yeah. The reason why they had that substitute because they couldn't get the sage. But I would sit there, and if I can find a place, like if somebody owns some land, just throw seeds. And then you have a female and a male, and as they grow, you'll find that the female will have the seeds on them. So you just take the seeds, put them in a bag, and then wait for it to fall, and then throw them on the ground.
Okay, last thing to do with the medicine pouch, because we're into... we'll probably get cut off on this one. Hopefully we'll get a chance for it. Right, you said you can chant if you want to when you're doing the medicine pouch. Can you give an example of a chant?
Oh, okay. The whole chant is anything that you can do, as long as you put the words come from your heart. A picture comes from your heart. You know, it's like so for instance, if I'm doing something, I'm going, yeah, hey, 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 but I'll create a picture of what I want to do and sending love that this is why I'm asking.
Brilliant.
And don't tell them 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians. That one don't work.
Yes, Linda agrees with me. Mugwort.
Yeah. All right, but
Save me looking it up. Thank you, Linda.
Yeah, as long as there's something that, like I said, they used it because they didn't have sage, so they substituted. Just like when they used salt in their ceremony because they ran out of tobacco. They couldn't get tobacco. So, but again, tobacco again is very important. So make sure that you understand it's a gift, but it's also a healer.
We will be cut off any second now. So could you use salt then instead of tobacco?
No, salt, basically, Even though when I got there, I used salt to have the Druids recognize who I was.
Right. Well, thank you. This has been a great episode. Well, they're all great, but this one's been particularly great. So thank you for demonstrating that. Thanks for listening to Straight Talk Sacred Pathway. If you'd like to ask Wa-Na-Nee-Che a question, you can email me at stuart@realityresponsibility.com. The link will be in the description. And don't forget, you can download a powerful guided meditation for free at humancircleoflife.com.